All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is James Shepard with CC Sales Pro, and I appreciate all of you joining us on the webinar. We've got a pretty good crowd going here now. And what we're going to do today is we are going to have a little bit of a different type of webinar. I know it's kind of last minute. We thought about just recording it and posting it on our podcast, but I decided it'd be better to do it live so we could get some input from the agents with maybe some questions you might have. Joining us on the call today, Jonathan Ruiz is probably going to hop on here in a little bit. He had to do a installation this morning, and so he might hop on and join us here in a little bit. But we really wanted to do the interview today with Bradford Jones, and Bradford has been a top producer almost from the moment he started with us. He was, when he started with us a few months, I guess it's been about 4 or 5 months now, and it seems like just about every single month he's getting 15, 16, 17 new submissions a month, and so really stacking up his merchant services business in a hurry. So what I'm going to do is I've got some questions for Bradford, and we're basically just going to go through and do an interview and talk to him about some of his sales strategies for success. And then what we'll do is I'm going to open it up for some questions. If you have any questions for me or for Bradford after the interview, we won't go too long. But if we get to that point, then we'll go ahead and open it up. And, you guys can ask us any questions that you have. So let's see if I can get Bradford on the line here. Bradford, can you hear me?
Hello, John. Hello, James. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. I got y'all messed up now that John's not on the call.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great this morning. How's everyone?
That's awesome, man. Well, I got all their lines muted for right now, and we'll get some questions from them in a little bit. But let's start off. First of all, Bradford, tell us a little bit about what caused you to get into this industry and, why you joined our team and why you decided to start into the merchant services business.
Well, it's simple. It's a life-changing move. And the earning potential. It's a great way to earn a great decent living for me and my family.
Right.
So that's what got me into it.
Especially when you're selling like 15 deals a month. So you first got into the business. Now, now I don't know this actually, were you already selling for another processor before you came on board with us, or was this like you started with us and that was the beginning?
Well, it's kind of strange, but okay. How it happened? I have a relative who is in the merchant services industry.
Okay.
And so through him, I was working with them for a while, but they do the telemarketing, and so they do it totally different than the way us guys get out there and do it.
Right.
So things kind of went south with us. But I had got the opportunity to see the potential in it. So
Right.
I just got to investigating and finding out how can I do this full time myself.
Right. So you're prospecting. If I remember from our last conversation we had a couple months ago, at that time I think your prospecting method is pretty much just you're going out and walking into businesses like we talk about on the videos. Are there any other prospecting methods you're using, or is that pretty much it?
Well, James, the materials and the training that you are providing us with, James, it's great. I just used exactly what you give us, and it's a proven method, and it works very well.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you're out there prospecting. Give us an idea, because I know a lot of agents have questions about this. When you first, let's talk about your first month, prospecting, going out, face to face. Walk us through your schedule a little bit. How many hours were you spending out in the field versus in the office and things like that?
Okay. Well, when I first started, James, of course I had another job, and I didn't go to work until 3 in the evening. So when I first started, I would get up early in the morning, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I was in somebody's location.
Okay.
Okay. And I did 1 or 2 deals like that my first week. So I was like, I got to thinking, I say, hey man, if I could do that in the little bit of time I have until I have to go get ready for my other job, I say, man, I wonder what I could do if I dedicate myself to this full time.
Right.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
That's exactly what I did. I started with my wife. She's a great, she gives me great motivation. And, she said, hey, Brad, I think you could do good at this. So, we started from there.
That's
So
awesome.
in the morning, I get up. Okay. I head out to my first appointment, or like you say, I start at the beginning of a road, and I just go to every business.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So
So
when
that
go
Go ahead.
ahead. So you start in the morning, and about how many hours would you say on average you spend out in the field prospecting for new business? And do you like split that time up from the time you're doing follow ups, or is it all just kind of you just spend a certain amount of time in the field total?
Uh, no, I just spend a certain amount of time in the field total.
Okay.
When it comes to my follow ups and things like that. So say today, if I go out, I prospect 20 businesses. That's my goal. At least 20 to 30 businesses every day.
Okay. And
So.
how long does it take you to do that?
Uh, well, actually, James, I move pretty fast, pretty swift. So, by 3 o'clock, I've talked to that many people.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured. That's about the norm. So you're basically going out from like 8:39 until 3 out in the field. You're mixing in your follow ups with your new visits, and you're able to walk into about 20 to 30 businesses a day.
That's correct.
Okay, and then let's talk about your opening pitch. So you walk into the business. What do you say?
I say this. I say, "Hello, my name is Bradford Jones. I work with a lot of the local merchants in the area, and I was wondering who are you currently using for your credit card processing."
Nice. And what kind of response are you getting to that?
Um, well, some people give you give you a no.
Right.
But what I've learned to do, James, is listen to what kind of no am I getting? Am
Mm,
I getting a no that, hey, you're just this, Joe Blow that just walked into my business and, was asking me these questions? And is it the type of no that they're saying, hey, I'm saying no because I just met you?
right. Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
a big key I found is to listen to what kind of no you're getting. If they're not just telling you, "Hey, get out of my business," then you got to you got to switch your pitch to addressing why they're telling you no and
Right.
overcoming the type of no that you're getting.
Yeah. So let's say you walked into a business and you asked them who they're using for credit card processing, and they said, you know what, we're already with somebody and we're happy with them. We're not really interested. What would you respond to that?
Well, I will respond like this. I would say, "I understand, and I do understand that." Uh, Now, what I would like to do for you, and I'll just say, hey, I would like to do just a little cost analysis for you and just show you, what you could be saving. I understand you've been with these people a long time, and, they probably are doing a good job. But it's not going to hurt to at least see if you could be saving some money.
Right. Nice, love it. One thing I have to point out because I love that. One of the things that's so important about your pitch is it's isn't it you're moving forward to that next step. It's almost like in some instances it's almost like you're acknowledging what the customer said, but you're not letting that derail you. You're still going after doing the cost analysis, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Uh, you don't give up at the no. You don't let that stop you because just because they're satisfied with whoever they're with, if they knew they could be saving $100 or a couple $100 a month, that does not mean they will not change
Right.
because
Tell
so
us about. Yeah, can you think of a maybe a sales illustration of a client that you recently sold that did give you a no up front and you were able to overcome that? Could you tell us about? Is there somebody maybe that pops to your mind you could think of?
Yes, I sure can. I have this it's a lady, and when I walked into the business, okay, I had already walked in there before and spoke with the secretary and stuff. She said the owner wasn't there. Well, so I left my card, and she told me to come back. So I went back the next day. The owner was there, and she happened to be at the front. So when I walked in, she knew who I was, So she was like, "Oh no, I'm satisfied. I'm not changing. I'm not switching. I'm not buying nothing."
Right.
Uh, but she slipped and she said this. She said, "The last time I changed, I had a couple problems, and I'm just not doing it again." So I switched my pitch to addressing her problem. I say, I understand that. I say, I understand you had a problem. But what I like to do is give this value to you. Where you had the problem, you had to sit on the phone or work with technical support to get that problem resolved. Now, the service that I offer, and I think you would appreciate this a great deal, is if you have so much as a paper jam or anything goes wrong with your terminal, you get my personal cell phone number, my personal house number, so forth and so on to call me. And so you can continue with operating your business. I will come and address all your problems. So when I told her that, her mood changed and she got to say, "Oh, okay." And she addressed the issue that she was currently having. And I say, I understand that. I say, "Look, I tell you what, we can I can help you out with that problem, but how about we do this? How about you let me go ahead and just give you a rate analysis and see if I could possibly save you some money, and then on top of that, you'll get my personal service to come address the problem that you're having."
That's awesome, man.
And she went.
Yeah, I love it. And again, guys, notice how that, Bradford just basically, what's happening here is Bradford's going in with the pitch. His goal is, first of all, to meet the business owner, which he does. Then once he meets the business owner, his goal is to get a copy of that processing statement so he can do a cost analysis. And he's just moving forward with that. If the customer brings up a concern, he's using that as a way to listen to the customer, to connect with them. And then as soon as he's got that connection, he's going right back into, okay, let's get that cost analysis done to see if we can save you some money. And yeah, I really, really like that. So Bradford, let's talk about numbers a little bit. When you're out prospecting, so you walk into 20 or 30 businesses a day, how many statements, and again, I know it's going to be a rough estimate, but like on average, how many new statements do you get each day or each week?
Well, okay, say out of 20 locations, James, I at least come home with about, say, 12 to 15 statements. I'll either come home with them, or what I'm doing now is I go ahead and do the analysis right there on the spot.
Right. Okay. So you're going to these businesses, and when you say you're looking at like 12 statements, depending on, it could be right there at the person's business, or they're giving you one to take back home.
That's correct.
Okay. So you're going out there, you're walking into businesses, you're getting the statements, and then out of the people that give you a statement, so let's say you get 10 people that let you look at a statement, how many of those people are you going to close usually?
I'm closing about 6 or 7 out of that.
Wow, that's awesome. So now those numbers would show, so on an average week right now, you're closing probably what, about 4 deals a week, I guess, is like your average right now?
Yeah, my average is about 4 deals a week.
So 4 deals a week. So on an average week, what you're telling us is that if you're closing them at, like, let's say 60%, so you're getting probably 7 or 8 new statements every week.
That's correct.
Something like that. Okay. Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of the businesses you're walking into now, like those 20 or 30 a day, a lot of those probably now are follow-ups.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Now, here's a big question that I know a lot of agents have. I've had a lot of agents that have gotten, 15, 20 deals a month for 2 months, but they run into a problem where they make sales for a few months, and next thing you know, they've got all these installations to do. They have all this customer service to do, and they kind of get bogged down, and they slow down in their production numbers. They're not able to keep submitting high numbers. What advice would you have for those agents, and what have you personally done to be able to keep the prospecting pipeline full and to keep generating new deals even while you have this new influx of customers coming in?
It's simple, James. You made a video on that. It's called Delegate to Grow. And I'm gonna tell you, James, it's funny because when I was getting to that point, I was getting kind of frustrated because I was bogged down. In between me trying to follow-ups or talk to new people. I had installations to do. And then you came out with that video, and I said, man, this is right on time. But that's exactly it. You have to outsource some of your, your work because, like me, my thing is I like to sell. That's
Right.
me. That's my niche. So I got a guy to do some of the installations. I also got a young lady who's fresh out of high school, about to go to college, and she started doing my paperwork. That way, I could stick to what I do best, and that's meeting the business owner and selling the business owner.
That's awesome, man. So tell us a little bit about like the installation person. So the first person you brought onto your team was somebody to do installations, right?
Uh, well, actually, it was the little lady, the young lady, to help me out with my
With the
paperwork.
paperwork,
And
okay. And how did you pay her, if you don't mind us asking that? I mean, is it like, was it just hourly, or was it by the application, or how did that work?
um, well, I was kind of trying to help her out too because she was helping me out, and I was bringing in a lot of deals. So I was giving her a few hours a day. I
Okay.
was giving her, I would do it like, in between 3 to 4 hours every day.
Okay. And she was doing all of you, like, you would write up the deal and then you'd give her that.
Etc. Correct.
Okay. And then what about your installation guy? How did that go or installation person? How did that go with them? Was it difficult to get them trained, or did they pick up on it pretty quickly?
Well, he there's computer networking services and stuff already.
Okay.
Uh, so he just fitted right on
This
in,
is
and
pretty
I just
easy for him. So how did you find this guy? Was it a guy you said that was doing the installs?
yes, sir.
Where'd you find him at?
Actually, my wife did. My wife is good friends with his wife, and so she got to telling. She told me about him, what he did, and so we went, sat down, and had some lunch, and then I kind of showed him the terminal and asked him would he be interested in going doing the install with me and see if he would mind doing it for me, and it just worked out perfectly.
That's awesome. So he goes in and does the installs, and then you pay him how? Per deal or per hour?
No, I pay him per install.
Per install. That's smart. That's the smart way to do it. So, okay. Oh man, I've got so many other questions. I'm trying to think of which ones to ask first. Man, I hope you guys are really getting a lot out of this because, when I talk in my videos about, how to build a business, Bradford has just literally done exactly what we talk about there as far as getting the initial, at the beginning, it's all about just getting out there and putting a lot of time and effort into it. Then once you got some deals going, then it's all about you got to make some good procedures so that you can delegate some of this stuff to somebody else so you can keep selling and keep bringing in the deals. Bradford, what would you say? What would your tip be for agents that are brand new? They're just putting their little pinky toe into the waters to test it and see about this industry. What would your advice be to agents like that are thinking about really getting involved, but they haven't really jumped in yet?
Is just simply put, hey, you got to decide what you want out of this. I mean, it's just how it goes. The time you put in it, that's what you go get out of it. You just have to make your mind up that, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and go out and do it. And then when you get out in the field, don't pick your businesses to go to. And I mean, if like they're McDonald's or something, of course you're not going to go there. But don't say, oh, this business like it's got too many cars, or this business don't have enough cars. Don't make excuses. You never know. The business that you're accounting out is the one that's probably going to be the one you sell.
Yep.
And that's just it.
That
You
is
just
so
get in
true.
there, knock on the door, and go talk.
Yeah, that is so true. All right, now here's what I'm going to do, Bradford. I got Jonathan Ruiz. He was actually doing an install so he's probably going to try to steal your install guy. But let me see if I can get John on here. Okay, John, I unmuted your line. See if you can unmute yours from your end there. Hold on here. There we go. John, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How's everybody doing?
Doing good, man. All right, we got Bradford still on the line here. John, you got some questions for Bradford I didn't already ask?
Well, wow, I don't know. First of all, I'm sorry I was caught up in an installation, but just like Bradford just said, I mean, it's very important that you guys delegate those things to grow. at this point in time, this was a last minute thing. I didn't have my guy available to go and do my installation, and I'm pretty sure that I would have been able to walk into like probably 20 businesses by now because I've been here since 9 o'clock.
Fun.
It's just one of those things. I have a lot of tips to tell you guys, but then I also want to ask Bradford a few things. Well, the main thing, I guess, is what do you think is the hardest part about our career, Bradford?
The hardest part, just getting out there and doing it. Overcoming, I would say this is the hardest part. Overcoming the no. Just whenever they say no, you have to know where you are going whenever they say no. Okay? You have to, and it's always pushing towards the next step, the processing statement.
Definitely. I see a lot of guys struggle just for the fact that they go and visit, let's just say 5-10 businesses in a day, and they're really pumped up. They get out there, they start talking to business owners. Sometimes they reach them, sometimes they don't. But when they do, and they come up to a no, it's like, wow, somebody just breaks really hard, and without you even wanting to break. So in that same sense, when they actually tell you no, what kind of attitude do you put towards the business owner? Because I know sometimes they could get really ignorant, but some other times they just pretty much flat out tell you no. And what kind of attitude do you take in order to I guess not get under their skin, just to get on the friendly side? Or how do you make a friend fast out of the customer?
I'll just be very positive, put a big smile on my face, have a big smile. You always want to be smiley. You don't want to look like you're just timid or scared or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'll put a big smile on my face, and I'll just I'll do something to kind of try to make them laugh or break the ice there, if you will. Or you got to become personable with them. Just say, like I was telling James earlier about the lady when she was real stern, and when she said what her problem was, then that was the icebreaker there. I added value that she didn't have. Yeah, she said she was satisfied with the other people, but okay, I added the extra value that, hey, you got a personal person, salesman or whatever, who has that you can put a face on and that you can call, that will come out and help you. Because a lot of these businesses, that I'm running into, a lot of them don't have that service. And so, and what I do sell, I do that for them. If they call me, hey, I go out to them, or I send my tech guy. So that's just what I do.
That's awesome. Love it. I got another question for Bradford while I'm waiting for John there. John's still having a little technical difficulties out there, but yeah, you know what, Bradford, that's awesome. And having that attitude. Let me ask you this. Is there any tips you would have for an agent that maybe is worried about, am I going to push the customer too far? Like they're worried that, if they keep pushing, that they're going to push them too far. What is it, like you mentioned, trying to tell what kind of no you're getting? Do you have any tips of telling the difference between that really stern no that means I can keep pushing forward, and that situation where you say, you know what, if I push forward any further, I'm actually going to damage my reputation out here?
Yeah, well, you're going to develop a feel for that. You can tell when they're getting to the point where they're, it's about to get ugly.
Right.
And, if they object and you come back with, a remedy to that objection, you're going to be able to tell by their body language and the way that they're talking if it's time to say, okay, I'm going to come back whenever they tell me to come back, or I'm just going to leave.
Right.
You'll be able to tell.
Yeah. Here's another question. So when you first got started, Bradford, and you were doing installations, some of the newer agents that we have that come on board, some of them are a little bit scared. They feel like, man, this first installation, I'm going to kind of make a fool out of myself. Do you have any tips for them on when you first get started? Any tips about making the whole installation and transition from one processor to you, how to make that whole process a little bit smoother?
Just make sure you have everything you need. The contact numbers of the vendors you're gonna need to contact whenever you go in to do the install. And me personally, I think you want to do the installs. I mean, because they like that. You
Yeah.
also get to build a more personal rapport with the business owner that way. Okay,
Yeah.
while you're doing the install, they tend to loosen up during that period.
They
Then
really do.
you'll get other leads from them. A lot of great information and things come out of doing the install. I've found,
Yeah.
because you build a personal rapport with them, and they tell you, hey, I got this friend or this business owner, go see them. I've got a lot of leads like that,
Yeah.
so that's a great thing. Don't be nervous. Don't be none of that. It's too easy to do. Just go in there and do it. I mean, if and really, speaking, if you make a mistake, they really not gonna know. You're the one doing the hookup.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. What's actually one thing I learned when we did like a church play a few years ago. One thing that I learned was if you make a mistake, just don't let anybody know you made a mistake. It's like usually the reason the customer knows you made a mistake is because you say something like, "Oh, I can't figure this out," or "Oh man, I've been on hold too long," or whatever. And if you instead just keep a smile on your face, keep talking to them, and don't let them know that everything's going wrong, then they're not going to know. Like Bradford said, you're the one doing the install.
Yes, I can hear you.
There you go. So, John, do you have any other questions for Bradford before we let him go here?
I guess one of the things that I go through, and I guess everybody out there in the industry, even yourself, James, is management of your time. And I think you guys already went through this, but if you didn't, then you probably answer this for everybody out there. How would you kind of organize your calendar in order to be efficient in everything that you do on a daily basis, whether it's prospecting or getting leads or networking with people or even doing your installs yourself? What kind of days do you think out for those days? Because usually what I would do is, Mondays I would go out prospecting, Tuesday I would have my appointments, Wednesday I go out prospecting and follow-ups, so on and so forth. But just give us a little idea of how your calendar is set up.
That's exactly it. Say on Mondays, okay, I go out prospecting. The next day I follow up on whatever I got out of the day before. Okay, then the next day I go back to prospecting until, I got equipment coming in. I get my tech guy set up on that, or my assistant set up with doing the paperwork. But that's just it. You have, guys, y'all have to be organized. You have to. It is dear to you being successful in this business. Because you can't make appointments with merchants and miss them or be late. It just don't look very professional.
Yeah, it's very common for that to happen. Sometimes, you make an appointment with somebody. If you don't know what your day looks like a week ahead of time, and James could tell you this because I think he did a webinar on this a little while back, and how to organize yourself. It's very important that you know what you're doing on Thursday at 10 a.m. If you don't know what you're doing on Thursday at 10 a.m., how do you expect to know what you're going to do tomorrow and how you're going to do it? Sometimes in our industry, time is very volatile. It could go from 1 minute you're, relaxing, sending an email, then the next minute you got to run out there because their credit card machine is not working. But in those situations, you're still able to be flexible with your schedules because you know what you're not. So it's definitely something to work on. It's not something that's going to come off from night to day. You're not going to get done and be an organized person like Donald Trump, where he knows what time he has to, eat his breakfast and everything else, because obviously somebody else does it for him. But when you're starting out, it's definitely something that you got to work on in order to be successful, and not only in this business, but just really in life in general. That's what I'm thinking. And then
let me add one thing in there. I muted your line for a second, John, but one other thing I want to add in there about scheduling, guys, is that when you're doing your scheduling, notice when you listen to John and Bradford talk about their schedules, you notice that you don't hear things like a lot of exact times and a lot of, exactly at this time. It's really more of a flow that they have to their week, and it's more of like a habit that you get into. Bradford's probably at a point now where he's not, correct me if I'm wrong, Bradford, but you probably don't even think that much about your schedule every week now. You just kind of do it. Is that right?
That's right. I just flow right on into it. And that's it. It's just become a habit.
Yeah.
It's become a way of life.
Yeah, and you just have to find that flow for yourself, what works for you. Like for instance, when I was doing mine, my flow, I actually liked doing prospecting every day, like where I would go out from 9 to 11 in the morning and prospect, and then I would do follow-ups in the afternoons. And so I like to do a little bit of prospecting every day. And the reason why, to be really honest with you, is that I don't really love prospecting. So I would find that if I left all my prospecting for, like, say, Monday, like John does, for me that didn't work, because I would look at my day and be like, oh man, this sucks. I got to get out and prospect for 3, 4, 5 hours. I'd rather prospect 2 hours a day for new customers. But again, you just have to find your flow and what works for you, and then build those habits up. And then you just go throughout your week, and just keep building on that schedule and until it's a habit. That's ingrained. John, I've got your line unmuted again, but I'm going to go through a couple questions real quick, and then we'll let Bradford off the hook here, and then I'll turn it over to you if you got some other sales tips for us. Doug asks, how much do you pay your install guy per install? Doug,
that's for me?
Yeah, that's for you, Bradford.
Okay. I give him $25.
Okay. $25 per install. Anything else? Gas money, anything like that, or is it all pretty much real close?
Okay, yeah. If it's a little further, depending on where he has to go, then I'll give him $50, depending on where he's got to go. But see, also what I did too, like I went bought bought a big roll of Cat 5 wire. I got the crimping tool. I got the connectors. You can get that stuff off of Amazon for pretty cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I did. So that's why I paid him like $25 or $50, depending on where he got to go. He already knew how to do the stuff. I just bought.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Actually, that's the same question that Doug had. Mark says, could he explain how he does an analysis on the spot? Do you use what do you use to do the analysis on the spot? Are you just like writing it on there like with a pen, or are you using like a quick analysis form or something?
I do it exactly with a pen. Just write out on the column to the side. I'll put, beside the rate they're paying, I'll put, the proposed rate, and then I'll show, the price, the savings on it. Just like you do, just how James shows it
in that video,
the training.
Yeah. The sales that you make, what percentage of those roughly would you say you sell on the spot versus like coming back and closing the deal later?
Okay. All right. Being honest with that, actually on the spot, right then and there, I would say maybe 30%.
That's
most of the actually where they sign is usually the day after.
Got it. Yep, that's fine. That's about where I'm at. That's what I figured. So I was just curious. Okay, well, Bradford, man, I really, really appreciate your time, man. This was very useful. I love when we get an agent on here that's actually making it happen, that can, that can explain some things to the agents. We do have one other question for you here, and that we just got in. Jeffrey asked, do you use tier pricing or interchange plus or a combination? Or do you have any advice on when to use which one of those cost structures?
Well, most of the time I go by what structure they're to seeing. Now, sometimes if a lot of times they don't have a clue about, if it's interchange plus or if it's tier pricing, then I always try to do what'll benefit them most. If they're doing over 20,000 a month, I automatically try to tell them, hey, interchange plus is going to help you save more.
Right. So basically, if they're 20,000 or more, you're doing interchange plus. If they're less than that, you're usually going to try to keep them on whatever cost structure they're on, unless it's a pretty obvious disadvantage.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And see, guys, that's a big part of, like you asked about doing the cost analysis on the spot. It's almost impossible to do a conversion on the spot. Whether you're going from interchange plus to tier or tier to interchange plus, that's almost impossible to do on the spot. But if you're giving them the same structure of pricing, then it shouldn't be that difficult to do it on the spot, because you just write your rate next to the rate they're currently paying, and then you can multiply it out and see what the difference would be. So, Bradford, you got any final words of wisdom for the agents out there that are listening?
Yes. Don't give up. Get out there. Don't get scared at the first no you get, because the next 5 could be a yes.
Yep.
So also be knowledgeable. I mean, if they don't want the credit card processing, then you got to remember the other tools that James and John has, worked out and set us up with to be able to make money on. My opener is the credit card processor. But I'm going to close them, whether it's with a cash advance, a POS system, or whatever, Use everything all the tools that these guys have provided us with, and do the training and follow up. You will be successful. Just get out there and do it.
That's awesome, Bradford. Hey, man, I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us today.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll put the portion of this thing that was the interview on YouTube here shortly and on our podcast. So thanks, guys, very much for listening. Hope you all have a wonderful day today.